doing? We didn't take a break, so I just want to make sure y'all all right, right? I'm happy to be here. Thank you for that lovely introduction. But there are a few other things that I am and that I do, and that will help ground us in why me? Like, why am I up here closing us out, right? Last year, I took on the role of president of the National College of Midwifery. So it's the largest MEC-accredited CPM direct entry school in the nation. It's a big deal. And we hold the most Black prospective midwives at our school. And it's huge, and you'll see as we move through these slides why it's important to mention that. Because there are four kind of pillars that I want us to think about as we're thinking about how we move forward, right? We know the answers. We have brilliant people in this room who've sat and talked all day, right? Who told us all the things we need to know. Community has the answers. Black midwives and birth workers have the answers. I'm not here to sit here and go over all the ways in which we do this. Also, it's important to note that I'm military-minded. I come from a lineage of soldiers. Soldier DNA, as Kendrick Lamar says, that's me, right? My family have been soldiers and fighters since the Civil War, right? And that's the way I want us to think about how we move things forward, because we are at war, right? If you all don't realize that right now, that we are in the battle of our lives, right? There are lives on the line. And so we have to think about, how do we move these things forward? What is our agenda? How do we get in lockstep? People who know me know I love bees, right? So you'll always see me with some kind of bee brooch on. And that's very intentional, because the one thing about bees, which was wrong with the Bee movie, if you ever saw it, is that bees, they're not men, right? They're women, right? And they work in lockstep with each other. They help each other. They feed a queen so she can lead. They all do their part, and they're all on code. And that's what we need to do here too, right? We have to understand what we're doing and how we're going to move things forward, right? Because there are bodies and lives and births on the line, right? We have been the canaries in the coal mine, right? Screaming, telling folks what's going on and what's happening to us, right? We've heard the stories, we've seen the research papers and all the data, right? And even after doing all that all these years, right, what report just came out and what did it tell us? Is it getting better? No, it's getting worse. After all that, right, we have all the people telling the things, it's on the news, there's documentaries, right? So what do we do now, right? And so the first thing that I feel that we need to move to do this better is investing in midwifery education. We cannot underestimate, we keep talking about midwives are the answer. Midwives are the answer. We can't think about this end of the pipeline without thinking about what happens here. We need more midwives, and so we need to support them through school. Show us the money, all you big orgs, whoever's watching on here. We need funding for students to get through midwifery school. I'm tired of getting emails from students asking me, is there a scholarship available? Is there something? Our school is the cheapest school in the nation to become a midwife. Under $10,000 total, right? They just need $4,500 to start. And I have students who are wanting to be midwives and they can't. I don't want to see another GoFundMe, right? Asking for people to fund their education. We have to figure out how we invest in midwifery school, CPM route and nurse midwifery route, right? And thank you, Dr. McLemore, for making that distinction and said all midwives, regardless of the way you're trained in your pathway, we need all of you, everyone. And as we're thinking in this military way, right, we are all soldiers. Everybody needs to be boots on the ground. That's all of us in whatever capacity that looks like. So as we're thinking about this, we need to think about, how do we get more midwives in midwifery school? How do we fund them? And then the next step is, once they're in school, what happens, y'all? They get in the pipeline, they can't get out. I have students who I have to send dismissal letters to because they've been in the program 10 years and haven't moved an inch. The white folks before me who were in the position at the school thought it was enough just to throw money at them and then left them alone. Nobody reached back to say, how are you doing? Are you making it through the program? What is happening? So we have a whole bunch of midwives who are just sitting in a hold pattern because they can't get through. And then the other part is they don't have safe clinical sites or preceptors. They have to practice with harmful people, right? We have to get creative in the ways in which we figure out how do we get midwives who have entered school through the program. Our school is trying to think of some of those things, sending students to people we know are safe, where they can say, and they're accountable, where I can say, we are sending this crew of midwives, midwifery students to you. Train them, get them safe, get them through. So many of us make it through, and once we make it through, we can't even practice because we're so harmed and traumatized. Where people take breaks for years, or sometimes people don't even enter clinical care and taking care of clients because they just can't, because they were busting their butts in their apprenticeships. They were doing all the things, unpaid, right? People are working 40 plus hours a week unpaid as students. We have to do this better, especially when we're talking about Black women and birthing people and Black folks who want to take care of Black birthing people. We can't tell our clients that you need to be loved and cared for and supported, and we don't do the same for our students who are making it through, who are going to be caring for them, right? I know, because one thing that wasn't in my bio is that I'm a medical school dropout. I entered med school with a newborn and a 3-year-old. I'm wearing this cape, and I thought I was Superwoman at the time, but I got there with a little 3-week-old in my papoose because the school wouldn't let me defer. So you know how it is. You take the MCAT and you get into school, you're like, oh, I'm going to figure this out. And that's what I did with a 3-week-old baby and entered medical school. And you think anybody was thinking about me and my care? This was before the time of nursing rooms. My dean had to fix his little office so I could sit and nurse the baby and figure it out, right? And that was 20 years ago. We have to do this better, y'all. So think about that as we're thinking about students getting through. We can't keep saying midwives are the answer, and we're not thinking about how do they get done. We need midwives out there who are practicing to become preceptors, y'all. We need y'all to precept, and I know it's hard. I know it's a lot of work to take people under your belt, but we got to. White folks, allies in the room, allies, watching this, we need you all either to help or get out the way. Move out the way if you're not going to help us. Students should be safe when they're with you. They're not your mammies or your nannies. They're not there to do your dishes and do all your grunt work. You need to train them and get them through school, get them through their programs. When I tell you I have a list of preceptors where they're the only preceptor in the state or in their area that student can work with. So students are between, do I become a midwife and just chuck it up and just deal with it? Do I move across state lines? And we're thinking about, and that's just single students. We're not thinking about folks who have children, who have to do all the things. We have to reimagine this better in how we do it, right? The next thing, y'all, policy. And we talked about it a lot, right? But for me, policy is my jam and it's where it's at. Everybody doesn't have to be a midwife to do this midwifery work, right? All you MPH students, all of you all who are doing that work, you all have to figure out how we get this policy and legislation part right. And we have to get in the fight, y'all. We can't have places and spaces where we're not there, but decisions are being made about us. Decisions are being made about our bodies and what happens to them, right? We can't have doctors making decisions about midwives and midwifery care because we're not at the table, right? I've done policy work in 3 states now, and I'm in Mississippi, and the fight is coming there. And understanding what's happening in the Deep South is important, y'all. We have to pay attention. We see what's happening in Tennessee, right? All the shenanigans, not just around reproductive health care, right? All of the things. We have to understand legislation and policy. We have to understand our place in it. We have to understand what we need to do in order to move things forward. Each and every one of y'all could do that. When I jumped in, I didn't know anything. I was just a student. and I just had a baby, and someone said, you want to learn this? And I was like, sure, and had to learn boots on the ground. Since then, helped pass legislation in a few states, including Hawaii. And I want to clear something up, because Hawaii was mentioned in this policy. The one beautiful thing that Hawaii has is that Native Hawaiian folks who want to be midwives, they are exempt from having to become CPMs. That's the part that people don't say, right? It's a beautiful thing. Imagine if we had something where black folks could be exempt from becoming CPMs or nurse midwives and didn't have to go through those routes. And we're governed by ourselves, because that's what happens in Hawaii. They have their own council of their peers and their elders who make them accountable for what they do. We have to reimagine how we do this, y'all. And we have to get creative, and we have to think about all of the minds here that are in this room, all the minds that are online. How do we do it better? Because policy, do y'all understand that policy dictates our lives? It dictates our lives. Legislation, policy that comes through, as you see what's happening in Florida, right? And the governor has the power to do all the things, right? This is what dictates our lives. So we can't not vote. We can't not get in the fight. We can't not do the things. We can't sit on the sidelines anymore, y'all. We are at war. We are in a battle for our lives. And I know we have these conversations about burning it down, creating our own things. It's not a or situation. It's and all the things. And I say this all the time. We need to be in all the spaces. We cede no space. If a seat is given up at the table, we take it, even if it's within an institution. Being at an institution that was founded by white folks was not created for us at all. Me being the president there, I can move stuff. I can fund black student midwives to come through. I can change my whole team, which I did. And it's all black women, just about. That's the power being in position. So don't underestimate it, and don't burn it down yet, right? We talk about our organizations. Take them over. Guerrilla warfare. Take them, right? If that's where the funding and the power is, take it. We have to. I know that's not everybody's jam. We need y'all out there who's burning it down, setting the traps, putting the mines in the ground. We need the soldiers on the front line who are moving things through. We need the strategists in the back who are figuring out the plans. One thing about the industrial military complex is what? They win. Whatever you feel about the military, that's one thing, but they know how to do one thing right. They gonna win by any means, and they gonna get it. We have to think the same way, y'all. Strategy. All the things, all the time. We need y'all in med school. We need y'all in nurse midwifery school. We need you all in CPM school. We need y'all to become traditional midwives. We need y'all to be researchers and policy folks and legislators. Everywhere there's a space that dictates what happens to us, we must be there. And then we could burn it down, right? Right? But I want us to be clear on that, because we often, I've been to so many panels and so many conferences where we talk about, let's just leave it. We know, let's all get on code. We know none of this was built for us, right? We know this. We were not meant to be here. Maternal health care was built on our backs, with our ovaries, our wombs, our blood, and our sweat. It's ours. We take it. That's what's owed to us. If I had my way, it would be a full reparations model at the National College of Midwifery, and every black student, every black person wanting to come through is free. I need the money, though. I need the funding, y'all. Right? And we're going after it. So there's so much money out here, legislation is talking about midwifery education and funding in institutions. I haven't seen a dime, but that's the way forward. So we need y'all in those places making those policies, and we need funders to help us get the money. The other part that I do is I'm the executive director of Birth Future Foundation. It's a philanthropic organization where we are decolonizing philanthropy. We want white folks to be like Robin Hood. Y'all rob from the rich and y'all bring it to us. That's what y'all do. Y'all know the story of Robin Hood? That's what Robin Hood did. Move out the way. We don't need y'all to tell us where the money go. We don't need y'all to tell y'all, us to tell us where we need to put it at. Just get it for us. That's what white folks can do. And I say that speaking specifically because lots of times allies think they're doing the great work and doing the things and they're saviors. We know what we're doing. We know what we need. Use your privilege and power to help us. Get us the money. Have you all seen that video when they're in the court and the black person is protesting and the white folks are going all around them, keeping the police away from them? That's what y'all need to do for us. Be on the front line. Shield us. Shield us from harm, because they're not going to hurt y'all the way they hurt us, right? We don't need you to talk for us. What the black women need, and they said, is this: don't talk for us, shield us, protect us. Folks who are in institutions and organizations, center us. With the studies that we know now, what we should be moving from is like, I can just assume a black woman or black birthing person is going to be harmed in this space. So what do I need to do to make sure that doesn't happen? Not wait until after it happens. Move from that place. Residents, doctors, nurses, whomever. Because, I know we say the things about hospitals and we need to leave them, but that's where our people are. That's where a majority of our people have to birth. Midwifery care isn't covered by insurance in most cases, especially with a CPM in most states. People can't afford to pay out of pocket. The demand I have crosses state lines. I get calls from Alabama, Tennessee, Louisiana, asking for a black midwife, and I can't take them all. I can't help them. Think about that. Think about the Deep South, and we need to have this Deep South initiative, y'all. The states that get ignored, the Mississippis, the Tennessees, the Louisiana, the Alabamas, all the places where the Confederacy reigns supreme. It's by design, y'all. The same states, right, or the same states where there's the worst black maternal and infant mortality rates. It wasn't created for us, but we can fix it. Being in all the places, ceding no space, y'all. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, and I want us to sit in that. Caring for the caregiver is the next strategy. You saw and heard people on the panel, they're tired. I'm tired. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired. Exhausted from this work. We have to make sure we're caring for those of us who are on the front lines and doing the things. You think Jenny not tired? Right? We have the whole Avengers of midwifery up here, right? And they're tired. I have a cape on, but we not superheroes. They're tired. We have to make sure we're caring for each other and seeing each other. We're not okay, even if we say we're okay. Because this work, this battle, this fight we're in will burn us out and exhaust us. It's determined to do that. So we have to check on each other and care for each other. The nurses, the doctors, the midwives, all those folks out there, they are not okay if they're going into this system and fighting every day, right? We have to make sure we take care of each other too in the process. So those in leadership positions, we can make sure that our people are taken care of. Before I came on, I had a team where majority of the folks were on WIC, but getting paid. No health care at a midwifery school. How's that acceptable? And we, says because, we're just really working part-time, so it's not full-time. It's just 15 hours a week of work we're doing. And it's not, it's not, right? We have to take care of each other. We have to figure out a way how we do this better. Because we've had too many black midwives pass within the last few years, giving their all to us in community. Some of them didn't have insurance. Some of them had no backup plan, had no savings. We cannot anymore. We have to be creative and imaginative in how we're taking care of each other so that we're okay. I don't want to die doing this, y'all. I don't want to get cancer, which is what happens to a lot of us, because it's heart work, It's spirit work. We're giving from the marrow of our bones, pulling energy. We have to make sure we're okay. So for me, that looks like I need to find some insurance for my folks. They need a wellness plan because I can't change the dynamics and the circumstances that they're fighting in, but the least I can do is take care of folks, right? Pouring into those on the front lines, and this is just a continuation of that, right? Any of the people you see online that are the superstars in this field, they're taking hits from every direction. Trust that. Probably things they'll never say out loud. Some of the fights that they're bearing every day. I wish I could tell students, do you know how hard I'm fighting for you? At every turn, people want to take. People want them not to be there, right? The invisible fights. All of us need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves just as much as we're taking care of the people who are doing all the fighting. And you don't have to be the midwifery superstar to do this work, right? A lot of y'all probably didn't even know who I was till I stepped up here. Because the way I work, I'm like the SEAL Team 6. I am incognito, and I just do the work. Because it's what I was put here to do. It's my passion. So I'm in every space. I know some people Tina got 50, 11 jobs. Yes, I do. You got 6 kids too? Yep. You homeschool them? Absolutely. Yes. Because that's how I operate. Everywhere I can be, and as long as there's a breath in my body and there's something I can do, I will do it. Right? And that's not everybody, but there's at least one thing, something that any of us can do to fight this fight. And also, I was raised by a Southern granny who watched wrestling. So I'm going to use this analogy. We got to tag team this, and we got to tap each other out and let one of us go sit and rest. And someone's giving them water and food and recuperate while the other one goes out and fights. We can't do this alone. And we can't keep doing this in silos either. And we've heard that word, said quite a few times, working in silos, right? We need to work smarter, not harder, right? Please, if there's a midwife, birth worker, whoever in your community, take care of them. Offer them some. Don't ask them, because the way we operate, we're like, no, we fine, I don't need nothing. Or they won't even say. Automatically, the same way we would do a postpartum mama, a pregnant birthing person, we automatically want to help them out. Do the same for each other. We can't win otherwise. We can't win if we're burnt out. We can't win if we're exhausted. Right? And there are going to be those days, I'm not going to lie. Being in the war, we're going to be tired, and that's part of the fight, right? But knowing that we step out and take some breaks, let somebody else handle it for a minute, and then we come back in, right? Filling our cups. What are y'all doing for self-care? And I know self-care is a beautiful buzzword all over the internet, and sometimes it looks like getting your nails done or whatever. Whatever it is for y'all, make sure y'all doing that. All of you all who's doing this work, pour into your cup. And this conversation is kind of for myself. I'm talking to y'all, but it really is for myself. Take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and that is so true. Whatever it looks like. I know birth workers, they know what, post-birth beat down feels like. Feel like you got hit by a Mack truck, right? And we just get up again and again and again. Pour into your cup whatever that looks like. That might look like some coffee. That might look like twerking. I don't know. It might look like whatever. Make you feel good. It makes you feel whole. Some of us going to the bookstore. Whatever it is, find it. Y'all got to. One of the things that people will see about me, who follow me on social media, I'll show y'all how I'm living. I'll show y'all all the work, but I'll also show you what I'm doing to take care of myself. Sometimes it's just a picture laying down in the bed with my head on the pillow, say, this is what self-care looks like today. Sometimes it's some really yummy food. Sometimes it's just sitting with my kids. Sometimes it's letting the email sit for a minute. Sometimes it's not answering my text and not being so available. Right? Whatever it is, y'all, do it to fill your cup. Right? Seeking the good, right? This year's theme for Black Maternal Health Week is joy, right? And I know we've heard the stories. We see the documentaries. We're hearing the stories. You know, the most recent story, you know, the baby taken away who was birthing with a midwife. All the things, this horrible, horrible stuff going on every day. But we have to uplift and seek the joy. The stories of the bellies and the heartbeats, the rainbow babies, those who had infertility journeys and they're pregnant now, those who were able to access their abortion. For some folks, that is joy because they couldn't get it. Whatever it looks like, we have to seek it and uplift it. Right? We can't continue to just tell the doom and gloom stories. We have to remember our why and why we're in it. And we're in it for us, right? And I'm going to show you some of my whys. Right? The babies in the bellies, right? All three of these mamas. This one cried when she saw me walk into the room. I was doing my apprenticeship in Salt Lake City, Utah, one of the whitest places on earth. And when I walked in, she was like, oh my God, I never thought I was going to get a Black midwife, and cried. I had this beautiful birth, right? This is a client in Hawaii during COVID, in Maui, where I just flew over and sat with her. I was like, we in the mountains, we in the jungle, we're just going to do the things. I'm here for you, whatever that looks like, and had a beautiful birth. This mama here was just in Hawaii and was in between having prenatal care. And it's like, I need to see someone. This is our why, right? This is why we do it. Remember that. For the families, right? For partners being part of care. Partners being able to touch bellies. Because there was a point during COVID where that wasn't even possible, where partners weren't hearing heartbeats. If COVID taught us anything, it taught us that what matters and to hold on to it. So these moments, this was right outside of COVID, and he's military and he wasn't allowed in the hospital. And he was like, can I just hear the heartbeat? And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. And feel my baby, their first son. The future midwifery. These are my students, y'all. Look at that. All of those are baby midwives in the pipeline. And like I said, I'm not going to do the same thing my predecessors did and let them just sit in a whole pattern and thought throwing money at them was enough. I'm holding their hand till they get through. I don't care what it takes. I am calling my friends saying, do you have a spot in your practice because they need to get done and there's no midwife there? Will you take them? We have to use our relationship capital in that way sometimes, y'all. I know she's safe, and some of them are white midwives, but I was like, I know she's safe and she's going to take care of you. And that's what some allies, that's what y'all need to be, a safe space. Because it's not enough Black midwives out here to train all the students we have, real talk. So y'all have to figure out how to do this better and help us. Aren't they beautiful? Just look at that for a minute. And most of them are in the South, y'all. They're going to be midwives soon. For the present, the midwives who are practicing now, for those that we lost. For my babies, this is my why, my children, right? I want my children to have beautiful birth futures. I have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old. What we're doing is changing things for them. They see all this work. And that's me and my loves and my why. So remember what your why is. Fight every day. We are at war. Get in the trenches. Get on the front lines in whatever way that looks like. It's the only way. Burn it down, build it up, restructure it, whatever it takes. All of it. Cede no space. Thank you.